The automatic doors of the hospital slid open with a sharp whoosh, and everyone froze. A German shepherd, panting, eyes wide with urgency, staggered inside. In his strong jaws, gently but firmly, he carried a small girl, her clothes soaked in blood, her limp body dangling. Nurses dropped their clipboards. A doctor shouted for a stretcher. The air was thick with shock. After all, it's not every day a dog delivers a patient to the ER. As the staff rushed forward, the K9 laid the girl down with surprising tenderness, then backed away, watching closely as if making sure she was in safe hands. His fur was smeared with dirt, and his paws were raw, but his gaze never left her. One nurse noticed the police tag on his collar, Max, Search and Rescue Unit. No officer followed him in. No owner. Just Max, standing like a silent guardian. The emergency team worked frantically. Broken ribs, a deep head wound, signs of hypothermia. She was young, no more than 8. When a doctor asked the obvious question, where did she come from? No one had an answer. But Max seemed to. He paced near the door, glancing back at the staff, whining softly, as if urging them to hurry. Moments later, Officer Daniels burst into the ER, out of breath. That dog, he saved her life, he gasped. The story spilled out in broken sentences. The girl, Lily, had gone missing 3 days ago after wandering from a campsite during a family trip. A massive storm had swept in, making the search nearly impossible. Temperatures dropped dangerously low, and hope was fading. Max had been deployed with his handler, but during the search, they were separated. Daniels had been injured on a slippery hillside, and before anyone could reach them, Max bolted, tracking a faint scent in the rain. The team assumed he'd lost the trail or was trying to find his handler. Instead, Max had found Lily. For nearly a full day, Max stayed with the injured child, keeping her warm through the freezing night, licking her face to keep her conscious, and fending off wild animals. At dawn, with the storm clearing, he carried her, not dragged, not nudged, but carried, for miles through mud and broken branches until he reached the nearest sign of safety, the hospital. Back in the ER, the doctors stabilized Lily. Max stood at the doorway the entire time, ears perked, tail still, eyes locked on the girl's pale face. Only when she was wheeled to intensive care did he finally lie down, exhaustion washing over him. His sides rose and fell heavily, every muscle trembled from the effort. But he didn't sleep, not until he saw Lily's mother rush in, collapse at her daughter's side, and thank the dog with tears streaming down her cheeks. Over the next few days, Lily recovered. She had a concussion, some fractures, and deep scratches, but she was alive, all because one dog refused to give up. The truth stunned everyone. Max had been injured himself during the search. A deep gash on his leg was later found to be infected, and he had dehydration severe enough to have killed most animals. Yet he never stopped carrying her until he knew she was safe. The hospital staff held a small ceremony in the lobby when Lily was finally discharged. Max sat proudly beside her wheelchair, wearing a fresh bandage and his polished K9 badge. Cameras flashed. Reporters called him, the dog with the heart of a warrior. But for Lily, he was simply, my hero. That day ended with one lasting image, a little girl hugging the thick fur of a tired German shepherd, whispering something only he could hear. And maybe, just maybe, he understood every word. Because sometimes, the greatest acts of courage come from those who can't speak, but whose actions roar louder than any voice ever could. If you want, I can now break this story into 10 separate paragraph prompts so you can narrate it smoothly for a 15-minute YouTube video without losing flow. That way, each prompt can be recorded as a scene. Would you like me to do that?